Mate, what do we need to do more of, less of in terms of mental health?
That's a good question. I think the first and foremost is the accessibility to support. So counsellors, psychologists, that sort of stuff, the accessibility to it. Just personally, I get messages from mates going, hey, I'm going through a really difficult time. Like, where do I go? So your mental health care plan's your one way, which is your 10 sessions.
Yeah.
But then you're waiting 6 to 12 months to actually get into a psychologist, and psychologists usually up their rate to then get more money on top of the subsidy anyway. Then you've got counsellors as well.
That's a big gap, isn't it? That's a huge vulnerable time, isn't it? That's nuts.
Yeah, it's a big gap. And you get counsellors, you got organisations like Redefine Life who we work with that will utilise lots of different counsellors to come in and provide support. But the education on telehealth, I think, is another one too. So we work a lot in regional and rural areas where they've got maybe one psychologist in the whole area. So actually educating that community to go, hey, you can actually get telehealth if you wanted to, and understanding where to actually go to get that support. One of the big things that we get is,
and just while we're on it, telehealth, like, just explain that. How does one access that?
So that's I guess that's the thing in education. You've got to find an organisation that provides it, or a counsellor or a psychologist that provides it. And telehealth is through your Zoom or your Skype on your computer and doing your sessions that way. So it is a lot less personal, but at least it's something for those who are in regional rural areas.
We're not talking about Lifeline here or Beyond Blue.
No, we're talking about that, which is that sort of crisis support area. We're talking about the prevention side of things. So okay, I'm having a bad day at the moment, or I'm having a bad couple of weeks. Where can I go and get that support really quickly? And the system, I think everyone knows, is pretty broken. Yeah. It's a long wait to get into places, and especially if you're regional rural and you've only got one psychologist that's an hour away, you're not going to drive there. And they're probably going to be pretty busy already to get into. So that's one, is the accessibility, but I think it then also goes into the education and getting back into the positive mental well-being skills that people have lost. The stuff that you try and do. Okay, what is on your bucket list? Well, go and strive for that rather than the new car, the new house, the promotion at work.
The things that give you meaning, purpose, fulfillment, gratitude. Yeah, for sure.
When we did, obviously you do the gratitude work as well, but we did it at a high school the other day, and there was nothing in there around, money, house, job, anything like that. It's always watch my kids play sport, or, getting out for a walk with a dog. Like, whether people are they're under pressure to write that down because they think that's the right answer, or they're doing it because that's what they really feel. We've done too much of it for it to be, I'm under pressure that I need to write the right answer. It's always, well, these are the actual things that you feel. So you need to go and do more of that. But also for mental health is, how do we get people off the technology and back into a community? And encouraging those communities in any way possible.
We talked about the other night, the loneliness epidemic. You would have come across that, right? That's real. Have you seen that?
It's a really interesting one, because I guess with the sessions that we run, we're always going into a sporting club or a community group where these people are really getting around each other as much as possible. Where we start to see it, we start to see people get nervous, is at the end of their sessions, and at the end of their season, where they know they've got
to go back into their normal life kind of thing.
And one of the big pushes by our national manager, Tim Cook, is how do we encourage people at the end of, whether it's winter or summer season, to stay connected to the people who are part of their community, because that's when they're going to get lonely. And we really see it too around the regional rural areas. So when we go there, we go, well, what are the signs and symptoms? And the reason why we don't tell everyone what the signs and symptoms are is because they're completely different for people that are in the city to people who are in rural areas. When I go to a club that's in a rural area, a sign that always comes up is someone that doesn't come to footy or netball training. And I go, okay, well, why? And that's the same in the city, but I go, well, right, why is that the sign here? And they go, well, they work on a farm 7 days a week. So if they don't come Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, something's wrong, because this is their outlet away from that work. So we see a lot of it more in that regional and rural area, where it's just go, 7 days a week. You're on a tractor, you're by yourself. There's not much happening. And it's about giving people the skills to how to stay connected. So your phone's a great one for making phone calls and doing text messages and sending. I got mates that just send me random videos on Instagram all the time. That's how we communicate. And then we catch up in person. It's all great. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't potentially utilizing the phone in a positive way. They just use it as a negative way, and they just flick.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
also those people that aren't taking the hour or 2 hours a week to at least go and get involved or go and see 3 or 4 mates and try and stay connected that way. What's the cure to it? I don't have an answer for you, because more and more people are starting to
I
recluse
know.
themselves,
They are.
and not trying to get out there again.
Yeah, I mean, I asked that question because, if phones, social media, etc., is a big contributor to, from my understanding, the loneliness epidemic. Where we're comparing the famous quote, we're comparing our behind the scenes footage with someone else's highlights reel. We don't go knee to knee, face to face, belly to belly anymore. We don't catch up as much as we used to. We should rather just DM someone. We're all doing it. But one of the pieces of advice that I always give as well is for people to be proactive rather than reactive. And that is value friendship, value community, value sporting clubs, value the opportunity to come together. It doesn't have to, come together and get on the piss, but let's just come together and be more proactive, and don't rely on your friends to do it. Don't rely on your mates. You've got to make the change. Be the change you want to see in other people.
Yeah. On that's a really good one. So we've got a great ambassador and facilitator, Liam Stocker, and we went and saw him do a keynote speak. I think it was a week or two ago. And he had a really good line in there. And I've been doing this for a really, really long time. Liam's only 23, only been doing it for a couple of years. But you can learn off everybody. And I think that's a big thing people need to note, is it doesn't matter about age. You can learn from anybody. And I really learned from Liam that night, because one of the lines that he used was, if you can't find it, be the first,
Yeah,
which is
100%.
exactly what you're saying. So
Yeah.
if
Lead it.
your mates aren't reaching out to you, guess what? You be the first. And at some point down the track, like I got a message from a mate yesterday just saying, have a good day. Now, I do them randomly all the time
Yeah.
and don't usually get them from people. But hey, I got it yesterday from one mate who's done it for the first time this year. So keep being the first, and keep being, as you said, keep being the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
You've got to take that first step.